76ers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
Hello everyone, this is UK 76ers. My name is Ben Glasspool, and last night the Philadelphia 76ers lost in Memphis to the Grizzlies by 106 points to 104. Now, to summarise very quickly, why we lost this game was turnovers. Of course, I'll dive into a bit more depth in just a moment, but it was just the turnovers. We had 22, they had 11. They had 17 points off said turnovers, we had 9, and they had 14 more field goal attempts as a result of these turnovers. So to be in this close, it's perhaps more of an indictment on the Grizzlies for not really putting us to the sword rather than it is, any sort of praise I can give to the Sixers because we got ourselves back into it. We were poor this game. I mean, obviously we had a few bright sparks, and I think you know who I'm referring to in that regard. But again, we're going to talk about that guy Ben Simmons. And to people that don't watch the game, the people that just think, just go off what the box score says, he had 11 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists, so basically a triple double. And again, a lot of people will be like, okay, it's a pretty solid game. He was terrible. He had 6 or 7 turnovers, I believe. He was 3 of 9 from the field. And he just really let himself down on the rest of the team down. And the issue I have, again, if Joel Embiid was out, they says some sort of, knee problem, but it's not. It's just load management. We're playing it safe. So, we got Boston after the OKC Thunder tonight. So I'm assuming we're saving them for those 2 games because those are 2 big games. But, this was his time to really step up, and he didn't take it. What we wanted from him, what I've been calling for him for so long, is aggression, going to the hoop and making sure you get your points. We know he can rebound, we know he can facilitate, but he just he can't seem to strike that balance. Only 9 field goal attempts? That's not enough from your star player. From when Joel Embiid is out, theory dictates that he should be the one to step up. Now, Ben Simmons should be the one to step up and ensure that we win this game, and he didn't. In fact, it was Shake Milton that really stepped up. And don't get me wrong, Shake Milton's a fantastic player, but doesn't Ben Simmons ever look at himself and it's like, well, this kid, as good as he is, has come out of nowhere as a second-round pick. He wasn't even in the rotation for the start of last season, and now he's carrying this team because I'm not doing enough. There's just no sort of sense of, what are you doing to help this team win? Don't you realize that you yourself, as an individual, as an all-star level player, as an all-NBA player, you have to be the one to get us over the line? And he wasn't. He was very poor. And I am really losing my patience with him, to be honest. Look, towards the end, I did sort of appreciate that we probably should have traded him for Harden. And I gave my reasons for that. In addition, I gave my reasons why I wasn't on board with that before a couple of weeks beforehand. Now, look, I don't want to just trade him for anyone, and I'm also not entirely sure if I'm in the camp right now for trading for anyone like a Bradley Beal or whatever, because I seem to recall last season Ben Simmons had a similarly poor start to the season, and then when it got towards the end, he was very, very good. So that is playing on my mind as well. But I think his attitude stinks, to be honest. I'm not sure what people are telling him. I'm not sure what the coaches are telling him. But they watch the same game as us, and we all know what we're getting is nowhere near good enough. It's nowhere near good enough. We need more from him. We need more from an all-star player, from a max contract player, and he's not giving us what we need. So let's just talk about his game a bit more. So in that first quarter, he went scoreless. He had a couple layup attempts, one of which he ended up going to the free throw line for. Should have been an and one, but he can't finish at the rim for whatever reason. Missed both free throws. Had a really bad up and under attempt that just hit the bottom of the basket and ended up sort of coming to nothing. Had a hook shot that was way short. Had a 3-point attempt that was towards the end of the shot clock that just, airballed. So poor first quarter from him. He'll get his assists, he'll get his rebounds, but we want more. We want points. We want him to average 15 plus points a game and consistently get that. Getting to 15 points for Ben Simmons at the moment is seemingly an impossible task, and it shouldn't be. He's got to the stage where he can get anywhere between 8 to 30 odd points. We can't just have that. We need consistency. We need to consistently put up numbers. And he's not doing that. So yeah, he got his first points in the second quarter. He was a lot better in the second quarter, I believe. He was getting a bit of momentum. He was going to the rim and he got a couple points. but he was 3 of 9, so he was missing more than he made. Towards the end of the fourth quarter, I recall he had a nice little turn-away fader, and that dropped, and wasn't from the 3-point line or anything, but it was it was in and around the paint near the free throw line. I was like, well, why don't you bring that out a bit more? But he'll do it once, it dropped, and he probably won't do it again. He had another 3-point attempt, airballed it, and look, I have been the idea that if he's taking shots, that's good. When he's missing that badly, that'll weigh on his mind. That'll knock his confidence. Airballing is just an embarrassing thing to happen to any NBA player, let alone someone who's already struggling with confidence from 3. So I can't imagine we're going to see another 3-point shot from him for a while. That's a bit annoying, but he's got to be taking it regardless. I'm going to be quite staunch in that opinion. But what in the fourth quarter, when it looked as if he was just coming back in and doing what we wanted to do, he then just this stupid turnover. He tries to play a pass, about a 30-yard pass to Milton, I believe, and the Grizzlies just intercept it and then go out the other end. Thankfully, Ja Morant, when he went up the other end, was also kind of stupid in how he managed the clock. But it was just late in the game, late game decisions, and he obviously just showed that he was proved to be inept. So it was just a really frustrating game for Ben Simmons, and he is losing a lot of fans very quickly. And look, I don't stand in the camp that he hasn't improved because since his rookie year, because he has. His defense is incredible. It's gone so good, but it's just the fundamentals. Just getting layups, knowing when to pass. It all just seems to be deteriorating somewhat. He needs to stop jumping in. And what I mean by that is that because he's always pass first, ridiculously pass first, he'll come in, jump up in the air and look for the pass. And then, those of you who know basketball, if you jump up in the air and you land and you set up the ball, that's to travel. So he's got to get that ball out of his hands regardless of whether the pass is available or not. And that ends up in a lot of turnovers and a lot of silly sort of avoidable turnovers. And I watched James Harden yesterday for the Nets, and he put up, I want to say around 15 odd assists, double-figure assists at the very least. And all of these assists came when they're not forced. He's not him jumping up and looking for things. He's calm, he's collected, and he'll go look for it. Ben Simmons just is quite the opposite. It's frantic. It's not very, doesn't look nice. It's just bad, essentially. And he needs to work on that. And I'm hoping Sam Cassell, a former point guard himself, will get in his ear and, really help him along the way. Final thing on Ben Simmons, that we'll talk about the free throws. The free throws haven't improved. And with regards to the aggression, I looked at how Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton got some of their points. They got aggressive and they go to the hoop. Now, those of you know, Shake Milton improved incredibly well over the last year to a point where he was, like I said, not really part of the rotation to now he's a key player in our team. And he's now seemingly got a really strong game where he drives to the hoop. Now, Shake Milton's about 6'2", 6'3". Ben Simmons is 6'10". Shake Milton's not as strong or as heavy as Ben Simmons, but despite this, he seems to get to the rack consistently and finish consistently. So I'm looking at Ben Simmons and saying, but he's improved on work and worked on driving to the rim, and seemingly overnight he's now got it. So it's a really good weapon in his offensive arsenal. Why aren't you doing this? You're more physically capable. You're a more talented player. You're ambidextrous. You can finish with both hands. Why can't you do this? Questions need to be asked. It's not hard to improve if you put in the work. Is he put it in the work? Shake Milton put in the work, and this is what's happened. He can now do these things. Is Ben Simmons put in the work? I don't know. Now, look, I'm not advocating the whole trade him thing, but if an opportunity comes around where you can get Bradley Beal and also put Zach LaVine on this team whilst Ben Simmons goes, you might take it. I mean, why wouldn't you? That'd be a great backcourt. It'll be defensively a lot weaker, but these are the questions you're going to have to ask now because we are not getting what we want from Ben Simmons. And I do hope and I do think eventually the penny will drop. But right now it's not. And this is not good enough. We can't win without Joel Embiid grinding us through games. Anyway, let's get to the game. That's my little rant about Ben Simmons. So first quarter, Dwight Howard setting the tone, offensive boards, had a nice putback dunk on a free throw. The defense was quite solid early on, and before you know it, then the turnovers come. And we've had this chat before. We can't seem to defend transition very well, transition fast breaks, etc. And that's where they torched us. It was putting the pace up, and then we just couldn't get to it. They had a lot of easy lobs, open lobs. Brandon Clark had a couple. Jar had a couple. And you sort of sat there wondering, well, what do these guys work on? When we know transition defense isn't our best and the pick and roll defense isn't our best, what are these guys working on to ensure this doesn't happen? And it keeps happening. And look, the transition defense will never improve with the turnovers don't decrease, because we gifted them so many more points. They had 14 more field goal attempts than us, which means that we're going to struggle from the offset regardless. That was the first quarter. We finished 26-25, 1 point up. It was tight, but the cracks were beginning to show. Second quarter it was a bit of a dull one. We got in the bonus quite early. The Grizzlies just kept fouling us, and that's why we seemed to get back into the game, because we just kept going to the line, and it was quite simple for us to do so. Isaiah Joe, a nice few minutes. Matisse Thybulle, I thought this was probably the best game I think he's had this season. And I know against Orlando he had that one where he was draining his threes and all that, but I really like what he's done, and he's responding, because I think the Harden package involved Matisse and involved Ben Simmons. Matisse is responding. He was 2 of 4 from 3, 3 of 5 from the field. He had 8 points, 5 rebounds, and he had his steals and his blocks, as he so often does. He was very, very good. His defense was impeccable as usual, and he's responding really well. And that's all we want, because if he can get a decent shot, then all of a sudden you've got one of the best 3-and-D people in the league. Like, it's as simple as that. Last year was 35%, but it was on low usage, so you've got to take it with a grain of salt. This year it's a lot lower, but again, he's not taking too many, so that percentage will fluctuate when it drops and when it doesn't greatly. So that's a bit misleading. But he had a couple good threes in today's game, and you just got to hope he can continue in that, because like I said, if those threes are dropping for him, then he's a really good person to have in this rotation. But the Grizzlies just ended up running away with it in the third quarter. They outscored us by 6, and by the time the third quarter ended, we were 12 points down. Obviously, we do mount a fight back in the fourth, but again, the Grizzlies just got whatever they wanted. We got at one end, and it was slow, it was lethargic, and every single play seemed like it was a real struggle for us to get open looks, to get any sort of offense going, and then we'd luckily get a bucket somehow or something like that. And the Grizzlies go at the other end, and within 5-6 seconds into the shot clock, they had an open look. They drive to the lane. It's pretty easy, pretty routine, wide open 3, whatever else. Now, firstly, it's an indictment on our defense, particularly the transition D, because that was very poor. But also, I'm looking at our offensive scheme. Like, we don't run plays. I don't like how much Dwight Howard seemed to have the ball in his hand. Danny Green had to do a lot of pick and rolls, and look, he wasn't terrible, but that's not his game. So there was a lot of times when, to be honest, Dwight Howard should only have the ball in his hand when he's rebounding, if it's like a dribble handoff or something, or if he's putting in a layup. Danny Green should only have the ball in his hand, when he's just quickly offsetting it to someone else, when he's taking a 3, or again, an easy layup or a rebound, whatever. When they're starting to run the offense, no, I don't want to watch that, and no one wants to watch that. That's not what they're here for. It's not what they're in Philadelphia for. We can't let them, just. It's hard to have a go at them because that's not their game. But whoever's giving the go ahead, say, yeah, you go do this. That's no, I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. So that needs to go very, very quickly. But yeah, our offensive game just wasn't very good. It was a real struggle to get anywhere. But we did manage to drain a few in that fourth. We managed to get back into it because Shake Milton was saving us. He should have had a 4-point play, but for whatever reason, that was given us on the floor. He just couldn't seem to miss, and he was willing this team to victory, but he wasn't helped by the vets, essentially. Who I'm referring to here. Simmons had a nice fadeaway. I did allude to that earlier, and I do want to see more of that, because that was a nice looking shot, and he drained it. And that's all you want from him right now. Look, we can talk about the 3-point shot, but I think it's easier if we start in, then work our way out. So work on your free throws, work on that mid range. So when you're driving and you're at the top of the key, not the top of the key, when you're at the free throw line, you can just drain them, like what Embiid does. But he doesn't. He turns the corner and then gets to the free throw line. You think he can shoot, and he'll just kick it out to someone. But we've had our conversation with Ben Simmons. Dwight Howard at the line. He's never been a good free throw shooter, but this, he's 53% for his career, 2 of 8. If he just drains a couple more, we win this game. It's not all on Dwight Howard. So that's unfair. But it was in the fourth quarter. He goes to the line 4 times and he misses all 4, and that's inexcusable in my opinion. Look, if you're going to be a 50% free throw shooter, at least get 2 of them. And that cost us. It's just little things like that. They all add up. It all totals up. I don't like. Look, Howard was quite disciplined because we know what he's like with the fouls. But again, too often there was a couple technical fouls. It's just use your brain. Stop being an idiot. We need you for this game. Stop, giving away cheap points for whatever reason, and just play your game. Because I think overall he did have a good game. The free throws let him down, but he was explosive with 18 rebounds. But it's just little things like that in hindsight, they can lose you a game, and it did. So we come to that last stretch, and I talked about Ben Simmons' stupid turnover. Jar goes out there and doesn't use the clock properly. We get another attempt. We call a timeout. We should be going to Shake Milton, the form man, hot hand, been doing all the good stuff for us. Ends up with a Tobias Harris, Dwight Howard dribble handoff. Tobias then gets swamped at the back line and then puts his foot out of line, and then that's the game. Jar got fouled. We then tried to go the other end and hit a quick 3. Maxey was an off balance, very rushed 3. It wasn't anything to go off. So we just shot ourselves in the foot towards the end, unfortunately. Look, I'm not going to get on Harris's back too much. He put up an inefficient 21, but he's been good for the majority of the season, so I can't lay into him too much. But that play, that late play, was just not a good idea. That should have just gone straight to Shake. Harris should have been not nowhere near it because he was having a good fourth quarter, but I know who I would want in that late game situation, and it wasn't Harris, and that was a real shame. We lose by 12. Lose by 12. It felt like we lost by 12. We lose by 2 points. There are some positives to take, i.e. Matisse doing really well. But there's a lot of negatives, and unfortunately the negatives seem to outweigh the positives, and this was a very frustrating game. And if I was just to summarize in one sentence, Ben Simmons, I want more. It's as simple as that. He needs to be doing more for this team. People who have stood by him for so long now are now made to look like absolute idiots because he is not repaying anyone's faith. Be those fans, be those coaches, be those teammates. He's not helping anyone right now, and he needs to have a look in a mirror. And when people like Tyrese Maxey, rookie, when Shake Milton, second rounder, they come to these games and they pull their fingers out and they drive us and try and will us to win, and then it comes to you, a number 1 pick, an all-star, an all-NBA player, and you're not doing that, you're not doing enough. There comes a point where you got to look at yourself and be like, what am I doing for this team? It's not enough. But the beauty of basketball is that we have a back-to-back. We're playing OKC tonight, and he's got another game to prove himself. Will he do it? We'll just have to wait and see. But I can't imagine how it'll be much worse. Just cut the turnovers. That's all I want. Cut the turnovers, get aggressive. We'll see how he gets on tonight, and I'll see you later.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.